So I wasn't really planning on releasing a video this week, but when I heard the news about Loossemble leaving CTD&M, I felt like I should give you guys an update. So here is what we know this far. Loossemble have left CTD, and that means all of the members. But we can't really tell if the contract was violated by either side or if the contract was planned to end now. From Hyunjin's message to crew, we can guess that it wasn't really planned out, since she was warning us to not be worried when we hear the news of something. This something now turns out to be them leaving CTD. And there were some people theorizing if CTD-E&M maybe ran out of money, because the TTYL release and tour seemed a bit rushed. Maybe they could be struggling financially, which could lead to them laying off people, and maybe that's why they had to terminate the contract with Loossemble. But to calm your nerves for a second, I would like to give a counterexample. In a lot of music companies all around the world, contracts work like this. Artist A makes a contract with company A to distribute their music. This makes it so that artist A can't just produce music or create an album for company B. But in most cases, these contracts are not bound by time, but by albums. So typically in the West, artists do not release on a yearly basis, but sometimes take around 4 years to release a new album. That is roundabout what I'm used to seeing. Although there are also artists that take anywhere from 5 to 10 years, so take it with a grain of salt. So what I'm trying to say here is that maybe Loossemble had a contract that bound them to the company for a certain number of albums and concerts/tours instead of by years. This would also explain why they released so many albums in such a short span of time. And while the first tour was liked by fans, the second tour got some criticism. From them not having any background visuals to Hyunjin having to sit out for health reasons. Something that we didn't really get to know from the company a long time beforehand, but kind of not so long before the tour started, which could point towards this being a bit of a rushed tour, which again would be underlined by the fact that Loossemble had no backing visuals, which they did have for the first tour, so it just seems a little weird. Again, these are just speculations, but if the members really had a contract for 3 mini albums and at least 2 tours, maybe some of this was a little rushed, because they just wanted their contracts to end, maybe because of bad conditions for the members or staff, which then could allegedly be the reason for the members to leave. Wouldn't be the first time the members left a company for these reasons. On the other hand, of course, this could have also been a mutual contract termination or something like that. Again, we don't really know, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Now onto the future of Loossemble. Now that Loossemble has left the company, we can expect a few things. First of all, the members have said that they still want to be active on From, which is a social media site for idols. And in Hyunjin's Instagram story, she thanks the staff of CTD and reassures Orbit and crew, as does go on in Hyunjin's From messages. So I think that the members are definitely still going to be active and probably looking for another company. And maybe, just maybe, some of the staff from CTD is joining them, because it would be a little weird for Hyunjin to thank the staff and for the staff to celebrate them leaving CTD if they weren't going to leave as well. And here is where a lot of discussion starts with the fandom. Should they join ARTMS and Modhaus or search for another company? And so on. These are all just speculations, but either way, I feel like the members are probably going to continue onwards as Loossemble in some capacity. So if they will join Modhaus, I don't really think that they would get an OT10 ARTMS. ARTMS is their own thing, as is Loossemble. Their style and aesthetics, as well as the type of songs they create, are completely different, so I feel like they wanted to become their own thing, since both ARTMS 5 members as well as Loossemble's 5 members only spread into different companies to become different groups and to create their own thing. Still connected to Loona, but branching outwards, you know. So if they join Modhaus, I would believe that they would join as Loossemble, and then of course they could do things like an Loona 1/3 reunion album, which is something that Jaden Jong has talked about in the past, that he would like to keep on doing more with this subunits, but again, we can only guess what will happen. If the members do decide to join, then we could probably expect to see a Loona OT12 comeback much quicker, since they would have an easier time to manage their time and schedules if they were only 3 companies involved. On the other hand, something that Orbit have pointed out in the past before, Modhaus took in the ARTMS members and probably only them, because even though Modhaus seems to be a big company, they already have a lot of idols to manage. It is kind of a surprise that they even took in the ARTMS members, since they already have a lot on their hands with 24 SSS members, with countless subunits and activities, and they are still planning to debut a boy group, which would probably also have a lot of members and activities. So it just kind of seems like they have a lot on their hands. And at the time all of the members joined different companies, they seem to be really happy with branching out and establishing themselves as individuals as well, since you don't really get much of a spotlight in a 12-member group, which is kind of what made Loossemble such a special group, because you got to see all of these 5 members get their own spotlight, even though they didn't really get to shine that much in a 12-member group. So in a way, we are currently experiencing a pre-debut-like era, where the members are active but in subunits. But unlike in pre-debut, where we basically didn't get to see Hyunjin and the other 1/3 members throughout Ourii Circle and YYYY's debut projects, now we get to see all of these different subunits being active at the same time or around the same time. So we get to see the members a lot more, get to listen to their music a lot more. And so I think that it would be smart of them to maybe find a place for themselves where they can still be active as a subunit. If that is in Modhaus or a different company, I don't know. And also something to think about, a lot of Orbit are currently hoping for a Loona comeback, based on if the members join Modhaus. But to be honest, I don't think that the members being in different companies is the reason for there not being a comeback currently. I think it's a little more deliberate than that. The members had to fight a lot of battles after leaving their old company behind, and it seems like the members couldn't really join one company, since then there could be the claim of this said company trying to steal away Loona from BBC. And now that BBC seems to be in a weakened state, there is a bigger possibility of the members coming together again. But not because the members can join the same company now, but more so because now they could probably fight for the Loona IP rights in court, and maybe they could even come back as Loona with their old music rights in hand. So I feel like we probably have to wait a little longer for that. So just remember the time Hyunjin said that they were preparing something for after the tour. Because maybe it wasn't really about a Loossemble comeback or schedule, but more so about something Loona related, since it seems unlikely for Hyunjin to talk about their future plans in the company if they then announce the departure from this company days later. So all in all, I would say just try to see the positive things rather than the negative, since when 2 years ago Chuu left, we all were really sad, but look at where the members are now. They all are much happier with their freedom in hand, and we get to listen to a lot more music of them and get to see them happy. So again, try to see this as a positive change for Loossemble, because if they were unhappy in their company, it might as well be the best thing for them to leave this company behind. So yeah, stay positive, Orbit, and remember that all of the Loossemble members are currently talking about being kind of happy with this situation and for us not to worry. And Hyunjin even announced that she is going to drop a digital single, so I don't think that we have to worry much about this situation. So yeah, stay positive, and until next time.